What is going on, kings and queens of YouTube? It's your boy Willie Westside here, and I want to talk to you today about some of the games coming directly out of E3 that I am most excited for. Some new releases and announcements, some that we've heard about a little bit beforehand, but all the things that I'm very, very excited for, and I'm hoping to hear what you're excited about too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in. So during the Xbox conference, they finally gave us a lot more footage of Dragon Ball Z Project Z, now Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and it looks amazing. It follows the story of Goku, so far only confirmed to go through the end of the Namek saga from the original Dragon Ball Z series, and I am beyond stoked. The animation looks amazing. It reminds me a lot of Dragon Ball Z Fighters, and I am so excited. It finally looks like we've got a compelling and narrative-driven Dragon Ball RPG for the first time in a very, very long time. In terms of traditional RPGs, the last one we really had that I know of, not counting Xenoverse, which really followed kind of a side story, was Dragon Ball Legacy of Goku through Dragon Ball something with Boo. Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury, of course, can't forget it. So, to have an actual RPG for the first time in a very long time, I am very, very excited to see coming out, and I think it's going to really catch a lot of people by surprise at how talented this is. The fact that it's coming to Xbox and PS4 makes me very excited. As always, rip the Nintendo Switch in terms of getting these big console releases, but still going to pick it up for the PS4 and still going to play the hell out of it. The next big game that really surprised me was Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, this was announced during Bethesda's conference, and currently we don't know too much about it. If you remember, they had a really adorable announcer talking about the game, and it looked very, very hype based on the cinematic trailer we got. Now, the only details we do have is that a mysterious thing has happened to Tokyo in which people have gone missing, as evidenced in the cinematic trailer. We also know that there are going to be both good and bad spirits, and it's your job to discern which are good and which are bad, and it looks like you get to play as some sort of magical archer, which does look absolutely fantastic. The design reminds me a lot of Hawkeye's scene from Endgame, so of course, I'm very excited. Endgame was an amazing movie, and that scene really was iconic. So very, very excited for all that stuff. Plus, the art style looks incredibly lifelike, and granted, this is just a cinematic, but if we can expect that kind of cutscenes in the game, I can put up with some minor gameplay problems. Ononaki is a game that I'm surprised I'm actually very interested in. The storyline seems to involve a struggle between the acceptance of resurrection and death as a natural progression of life, and the fight to continue living, and it seems like those who fight to continue living are actually the bad guys in this game, which is a very, very interesting concept, kind of a reversal of what we typically associate with games, or movies for that matter, or general life. So very excited to see how this concept gets flipped on its own head. Very stoked to play it. The art style looks amazing. It is sort of simplistic, but I do believe it's coming to the Switch. That kind of makes sense. But they have to res down the graphics a little bit. But all in all, it looks like an adorable romp. And of course, I love my JRPGs. So very, very, very excited for that. Now, my next entry is going to be the Trials of Mana and subsequently the Collection of Mana. I am very, very excited for this series, although I don't know too much about it. So far, what I'm going off of is the art style and gameplay trailer we saw during E3, specifically during the Nintendo Direct. While I'm excited for the prospect of playing a neat, interesting JRPG that I've heard a little bit about, never really gotten my hands on too much, I think the fact that I know so little puts it a little lower on my list in terms of ranking. I'm not really ranking these, I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head about what I saw, because I'm very excited, clearly. But I will say, overall, I love the art direction. I love the fact that we're finally getting a game that was locked in Japan for so long coming to the West. And I've looked into a little bit of the history, and so it's really, really exciting to finally get these on, this side of the world, out of Japan. Really makes me hopeful for the future for some of the other games that have been locked over there. Looking at you, Earthbound 3 or Mother 3. Another one that's kind of a throwaway game is going to be the Spyro Collection. Now, the Spyro Collection I actually do own on PS4. I got it given to me for free. But I'm definitely excited to actually buy the game and play it on the Switch. I think that is the best way to play that game. I can see so many kids picking up that game for the first time. I used to have the Spyro Game Boy Advance games, and I grew up playing Spyro in the car, playing it when I was going around, and so the prospect to do that all over again as a grown adult as a grown adult makes me very, very excited. I cannot wait to be on a road trip with some friends or some family, busting out my Switch, playing Spyro, killing sheep, all that kind of good stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to re-experience that memory all over again. Pokemon surely wasn't a new announcement at E3, especially not during the Direct. It was really cool to see all the information we were given, but it definitely wasn't anything new necessarily. What I am surprised about is how much this small bit of information they gave, kind of reinforming us a little bit, made me revitalized for the series, and actually what it did was it made me angry, and then I realized I was also very excited. And I'll explain real quick why. The only thing revealed during E3 was that the Pokeball Plus, which I do own, actually it's right here, this piece of hardware, which cost me an extra $40 on top of my pre-order, is only going to be partially supported in this next game. And what I mean is that you can still carry around Pokemon and walk around with them that are currently in the game with you when you're not playing Sword and Shield. You can have one of your Pokemon in here, but it's not going to be used as a controller, and that infuriates me. Why, Nintendo? Why would you do that? But the reason, despite the fact that I am absolutely furious about this money, I can only use it in one game, is that it means the game's going to be a little more complex than Pokemon Let's Go. And while I did absolutely love Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, I made a video about it on my channel, what I will 100% say is that I don't know that I'm going to be able to put the same amount of time in that game a second time. I think the catch mechanics, while I really enjoyed them for that game, are not going to translate well into a second or third subsequent playthrough. I think that it's going to have to be kind of a one and done, and then an occasional go back to and have a little fun, maybe expand the Pokedex that I already had. Because it's just not that kind of difficult or demanding gameplay that I was really expecting. So while I am sad to see that this is going to be locked to a single game, and really any Pokemon game you only need 2 buttons, it's still exciting to see that a game is going to come out with, you know, actual difficulty and actual replayability, and hopefully, possibly even an actually engaging meta, because I might get back into that. And last, but certainly not least, of all the games announced during E3, is going to wait 1 second while I talk about the fact that Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Smash. Now, I don't know how people aren't uproarious about this. I've seen stuff online, but I've not seen anywhere near as big of a reaction as I think it deserves. Banjo-Kazooie is finally coming to Smash Bros, and he is the only character that I've been pushing for and pushing for and pushing for since the Brawl era Smash, when we started getting DLC fighters. It's either Brawl or Wii U, I can't remember. But he's the most obvious inclusion in Super Smash Bros. A gaming icon with a physical moveset who fits perfectly in the aesthetic and art style of Smash Bros. Much more so, in my opinion, than Solid Snake, Banjo-Kazooie deserves to be in Smash, and it is so amazing to see him in the game, and I feel so sorry for the people of Dragon Quest who are completely forgotten, because no one's going to pay for the hero of Dragon Quest when Banjo's on the horizon. People might have gotten him as, like, you know, Joker's kind of souring on everybody. They've had him for a while. He's good, and, you know, they want something new. And, you know, oh, a new Smash fighter, oh, I'll pick him up. But if people see Banjo, you know a good bit of people who don't care about Dragon Quest, who might have gotten this character, are going to be waiting for Banjo. And so I feel so bad, but it was such a good mic drop, except they didn't drop the mic there. They talked about the Hypest title coming out that was announced, and that is the Breath of the Wild sequel. And you did not hear me incorrectly. Breath of the Wild is getting a direct sequel for the first time in Zelda history. We're getting an exact sequel to a mainline title, and it is the greatest mainline title in that series. We stand Breath of the Wild up in here. It is amazing. I have a controller based on Breath of the Wild because it's a beautiful, wonderful game. Definitely in my top 5 experiences of all time that I've been gaming. You know, I cannot recommend that game enough. It was my first entry in the Zelda franchise, and now I've got 3 different titles. I've played through one of them. I have to get through the others. I've just got a huge backlog right now. But it is just an amazing, incredible experience, and I cannot recommend it enough, and I'm so happy that it's getting an actual direct sequel on the Nintendo Switch. Now, in terms of timelines, I don't know when it's coming out. I don't think it's going to be 2020, despite the fact that would be an amazing release window. Coming out against the 2 mainline consoles, battling it out for new games when you've got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, or whatever they're going to call it, Call of the Wild, something like that. It just seems like it's the most obvious release time because it'll immediately undercut sales for the other two consoles and would really help Nintendo out. Don't think that's what they're going to do though. I'm expecting holiday 2021 to be the release window, but it's a Zelda game, and Zelda games are notorious for taking quite a good bit of time to master, and I am pretty sure they probably pumped the brakes as soon as Breath of the Wild, the original, was released, so I don't think development's gone underway for too long. The cinematic trailer we got was beautiful, but you can definitely tell there were a little bit of lighting issues, which makes me think that they really wanted to get that trailer out before the game is really, like, you know, in any capacity polished. So hopefully, because they're building off of the same world, the same engine, that'll come out a little quicker, but we'll see. I can't complain. I'm still beyond excited. I literally jumped up and down. I got off my bed when I was streaming, and my friend was right beside me, and I was jumping up. I was so excited. It's going to be such a wonderful time, and I cannot thank Nintendo enough. So, guys, that is what I am most excited for from E3. I am also excited for Last Remnant Remastered, Tales of Arise, and what was the last one? Phantasy Star Online 2, sorry about that. I'm excited for all those, just not as much as the other titles I mentioned earlier, so very, very stoked to see those coming out. Hopefully you are too. If I missed anything you're excited for, please let me know in those comments down below. I know people are going to be upset I didn't mention Final Fantasy VII Remaster, but it's just not my type of game, so but if it is yours, please let me know. I really enjoy the discussion we have on these videos sometimes, and like I always say here on the channel, I hope to see you around sometime.